on BBC Radio Wales, and we've been loving playing Idina Menzel's new electrifying single called Move, taken her from her much anticipated new dance project Drama Queen. She's a multi-platinum selling singer, songwriter, a Tony Award-winning performer, but Idina is known globally as the voice of Disney's Elsa in Frozen. But I'm delighted to say that Idina joins me now. Very warm welcome to the afternoon show. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on the show. And it's very rare that I cannot stop listening to a song after listening to it just once. Hard to stay still with this one. Thoroughly enjoying playing it here on BBC Radio Wales and playing it at home as well. So tell us about Move and what you wanted to achieve from that song.
Oh, well, thank you for saying that, because that is what I wanted to achieve.
Good.
Well, okay, so let me start by saying that the album Drama Queen is it is a disco dance album. I know that maybe it isn't something people would expect from me, so to speak, but I actually felt it was a natural transition, because many of the women or men that I've really been inspired by in my life, big singers, have had their dance moments. You know, I mean, obviously Donna Summer, and she's an incredible singer. Barbra Streisand had her own share, obviously, return to her dance phase. And so I feel like it's the kind of music that really supports big voices, big melodies. And I wanted to make music that, you know, people didn't have to behave so much. They don't have to be so polite. They can be pressed up against the stage, and we can, you know, really have this reciprocal relationship where we can sing together. And I honestly, the impetus for the album was when I played, and I actually did it last week as well. I go to Heaven, part of the GAY circuit here in London, at 1 a.m. about whenever I come to town, and I surprise everyone. And I have the greatest shows. They have the most electric energy. And I always said, I just want to keep doing music where I can come back to, you know, a smaller venue like that and have the best time and bring them music that they would really love. So Move is one of those, a product of that. And it's obviously about the literal meaning of getting up and dancing and moving, but also about telling someone to move out of your way, you know, like to stop putting you in their shadow, you know, that this is sort of your turn to find your spotlight.
I've seen videos of you on Instagram at GAY, and, you know, you've been at Pride as well, which we'll talk about in a moment. I'm assuming Move is just getting a massive response from audiences as you've been playing it live.
Yes, I also do the moonwalk in it, which it's one of my special skills that always surprises people. I didn't plan on putting it in, and I was just messing around in rehearsal, and my choreographer saw it and he said, "That's going in." I said, "Well, I can't do it in the heels that I'm wearing." He said, "Well, we'll work in the dancers taking off your shoes so that you have proper socks underneath, and then you can be smooth enough."
I was going to say that sounds smooth.
Yes, exactly. So we've been incorporating it into the show, and it flips people out. But yeah, they're loving it. I have to say the audiences are embracing all of the album, all of the new songs. We have had the most rewarding, exciting time, emotional time playing for everyone at Pride. It's for me, it's really a wonderful opportunity for me to express my gratitude to a community and audience, to my friends and family that have always supported me creatively, artistically. I've also learned so much from them. They've inspired me to try to live my life authentically and honestly and truthfully, courageously. And so it's really a moment for me to say thank you to them.
It is so nice to hear you say that. And we are excited about Drama Queen, your album, which is going to be out on the 18th of August, your 7th album. It's going to be one of those albums we can just put in the background if we're having a house party and just let it roll and everyone can have a wicked time, right?
I hope so. Yes. That would be my dream, is that people play it at home, dance, whether it's in their living room or they're in the clubs. It doesn't matter. I just want people to feel good.
And you've got some really good legends working on it with you as well. You've got Nile Rodgers and Jake Shears. How was that experience?
Oh, it was great. When I wanted to do this kind of album, I called Nile Rodgers, who was a friend of mine, and I said, I need your blessing on this. Obviously, he's like the godfather of disco. I said, I can do this, right? This makes sense. And he said, absolutely. You know, he had worked on Diana Ross's album and obviously many others. But yeah, he was a big advocate for doing this album with me and wrote a song on the album called Paradise, which I love. And then I've always wanted to work with Jake Shears, and the label helped coordinate that for me. And it's funny, we wrote the song Dramatic, which is another single on the album. We met in London with Jim Elliott, who's a producer who lives in Wales.
No
and the
way.
three of us met in London to write the song. We started it. We all fell in love with each other. We thought we only had the one day because Jim said, I have to get back to Wales to my 2 daughters and my wife. And so Jake Shears just invited us over to his home. He said, well, we'll come back with you. And so Jim took the train back, but for whatever reason, Jake and I had to go later. So we took a car, and in the car, we finished the lyrics to Dramatic. And then when we got to Jim's house, we wrote another song that I love on the album called Funny Kinda Lonely. And it's the town, I forget the name. There's a town Jim lives in where it's all little tiny bookstores, and they're
Hey on Why.
Yes, they're all different genres of books, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
oh my goodness, how
right
exciting.
there.
Listen, let's keep the listeners with us. Hold that story, because we've got to hear Move. I mean, they're used to it. They've heard it a few times, but let's play Move. And then I want to hear more about your visit to Wales. Idina Menzel, stay where you are. Here's your latest single, Move. Let's dance to this one.
Spotlight on you and shadows on me. They roll the carpet out. You walk on air. I'm sick of this scene, ready to burn it down. So tonight it's my turn. Yeah, I'm taking center stage. 'Cause tonight I'll come first if you're standing in my way. You better move for me. I'm so high, make you move for me. I'm not falling. Damn, think stop and stare. Damn, baby, I don't care. Move for me. You better move for me, move for me. Stop, it's my moment. Spotlight on me. Shine like a disco ball. Four on the floor, I'm feeling this beat. Baby, I want it all. So tonight, it's my turn. Yeah, I'm taking center stage. 'Cause tonight, I'll come first if you're standing in my way. You better move for me. I'm so high, make you move for me. I'm not falling. Damn, think stop and stare. Damn, baby, I don't care. Move for me. You better move for me, move for me. Move, baby. Move for me. Let me see you move, So tonight, it's my turn. Yeah, I'm taking center stage. 'Cause tonight, I'll come first if you're standing in my way. Yeah, you better move for me. I'm so high, make you move for me. I'm not falling. Damn, think stop and stare. Damn, baby, I don't care. Move for me. You better move for me, move for me. Move, baby. Move for me.
Oh, I told you, that is absolutely amazing. You are listening to BBC Radio Wales with me, Behnaz Akhgar, and that was Idina Menzel's fabulous new single called Move. So before we played that brilliant track, you were telling me about your visit to Hay on Wye. So was that your first time coming to Wales?
Yes, it was my very first time going to Wales.
And how was your experience?
Oh, well, we drove, so it was just I mean, it was just exquisite, the countryside. And my experience was at my producer's home, this lovely home, which I think he converted it, renovated an old bank, I want to say. So it was this really lofty, like duplex kind of vibe. And we stayed, I'm going to forget all the names. We stayed in the hotel right there in town. And it was just so a wonderful time. It was, when you do something spontaneously and it works in your favor, you don't think about it. And Jake and I just drove up and took in the countryside and wrote our lyrics, and then Jim made us lunch, dinner, breakfast.
Sounds like a wicked experience. Do you know what? I'm just putting it out to the universe. How lovely would it be to have you back here in Wales next year for Wales Pride, which is held in June? It's massive and is held on near a castle grounds normally. I don't know where it'll be next year, but how wonderful it would be to have you there performing. Oh my goodness. Because I know you've been having a lovely time. How was London Pride?
I've been making my rounds of Pride. I wish I would have gone to Wales.
No, you'll come next year. I've just put it to the universe.
I will. No, okay, good. You're manifesting it for me. Thank you. It's been so wonderful that the release of the album is coinciding with Pride. And yes, so I've been making the Pride. I've been doing my sort of tour and having the most rewarding, wonderful time, because it's honestly, it's an opportunity for me to be on stage and express my gratitude to the LGBTQ plus community for one thing, always, supporting me creatively in my artistic choices, but to be able to say thank you for inspiring me through their courage and their willingness to live their lives authentically and truthfully. It's sort of set a precedent for me and how I'd like to live my life. And so when I'm up on stage, I feel a profound sense of gratitude and
And Idina, apart from work, you've been having quite a bit of fun while you've been in London as well. Did we spot you enjoying yourself at the tennis for the first day of Wimbledon? What was that like?
I'm a huge tennis fan. I've always been a huge tennis fan, but I've never gone to Wimbledon. I've always dreamt of going. It was spectacular. I mean, I was spoiled and I was in the royal box. So I know that's not everyone's experience of Wimbledon. My date for the day was my very good friend, Simon, who I met when I was doing Wicked here for 6 months. Wow. I keep saying here, I mean, in actual London. Yeah. He had been to Wimbledon many times in his life and had never experienced the royal box. So he was a little bit in awe, as was I. And it was just such a lovely day. And it even rained a little bit, which was to be expected. It's interesting to watch how they go into crisis mode and roll out the tarp that covers the court. And even it's funny, everything's just done much more organized. It was great. It was spectacular. I saw Djokovic. I saw Venus Williams, who actually had a hard time because she got hurt. But it was great.
Fantastic. I can't talk to you without asking you about Frozen. We'll talk about Frozen 3 in a moment. But first of all, when that script landed on your lap, Idina, did you think that it was going to be as big as it was?
No. I just knew if I could get that job and become a Disney, princess or queen and in a Disney musical, that was a huge coup for me. And that was enough. I was so excited. I had no idea it would take on the life that it did.
What an amazing experience must have been to be a part of such a global phenomenon. And we are all eagerly waiting to hear about Frozen 3. Did I hear you say somewhere on the telly the other day that potentially, yes, it's happening?
Yeah. Bob Iger, the head of Disney, announced it one day and it had been in the ether, but we didn't know for sure. And now that he's sort of put it out there, we figure, well, then I guess it's happening. But we didn't know exactly. And I swear I'm not trying to be cryptic or evasive, but no. I don't know anything about the script. I just know they want to do another one and that they want us to be in it. And I hope it's great, but I haven't even started working on it yet.
And when you're working on a film like that, I mean, you're in a studio all day, all by yourself. Is it quite hard work?
I'd like to be able to tell you, oh, it's so hard. It's such hard work. It's not. It's wonderful. You don't have to put makeup on.
Yeah.
You can schlep in there in your ripped jeans, and you can make a million mistakes, and you just keep doing it over, which is fun because you can find different choices and try different things and take risks. And I always have Chris Buck and Jennifer Lee in there, who are the directors and the writers, and they sit in there and they read the lines back with you. And then occasionally you get your actual castmates at the same time, so you could actually work off of one another. And
that's quite nice, because then you can go and have a coffee together as well and hang out and not be so solo all by. I had these visions of you just being all by yourself in this studio from 6 till 6, and it's like, chore. But it sounds lovely, actually.
It is, and Disney doesn't do anything small. So there's about 10 people in the and with the engineer in the studio, and then in the sound booth there's myself and the two directors, and so it's still extremely collaborative. And and yes, you're right, the studio, especially when I'm recording my own music, it can be more of a solitary experience, but I always like the balance of that in what I do. I go from the real community of a cast in the theater and in a production, which is my real happy place, to being on stage doing my live concerts with my band, or even on a movie set or TV set with the cast and the crew. There's such a sense of community, and I love that. And then when you go in the studio, it is a little bit more, it's a little quieter, a little bit more solitary. That's a nice, that's a nice balance.
Well, for now, we've got your album to look forward to. Thank you very much for making the time to chat to me today. It's been absolutely lovely.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for the Wales invite, because I fell in love and I will be back.
Oh, we look forward to it. Thank you so much. Don't forget, Idina's track Move is available to download now, and Drama Queen will be released on August the 18th.